같이 비밀로 할게 show me 숨겨진 이야기 baby 다 보여줘 now Like it hot Yes 네 긴 밤에 눈알 저 달빛 널 바라본 날 just tell me 다 보여줘 봐 Like it hot Like it hot Like it hot Like it hot
Hey guys, I'm finally out of my dungeon with another video. Groups with such vastly varied discographies are actually very sought out in this massive fan base. Some groups with such cohesive and compact discographies are often very overlooked in K-pop. Today, I'm talking about GWSN. As one of my alt groups, their music remains topped as one of the most well-rounded and cohesive discographies in all of K-pop, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased. So why am I making a discography review if I love all of their songs, you ask? Firstly, I am promoting them, and this is also a good way of justifying why everyone should stan them. Just kidding, not really. Also, I don't really know who started this video trend, but I was heavily inspired by the TXT and ITZY discography reviews of Ray, also known as Vixo, on YouTube, and I've also asked her if I could use that kind of video structure for this video. I've linked her videos and her channel in the description, so you could check those out if you haven't already. Let's go discography diving! Firstly, we'll begin with their debut album, the first part of their debut trilogy, The Park in the Night Part 1. Deep house-oriented and kickstarting GWSN's fantasy-esque theme, this song is by far one of the best 4th-gen debuts I've witnessed so far. It introduced their concept to the industry in a very unique way, using bells and chimes to incorporate that sparkly fairyland soundtrack that GWSN seems to have deemed as their personal sound. And this is a perfect introductory track for their purpose. Still maintaining the tropical, sparkly, and fantasy-esque theme, but incorporating a little splash of retro new disco, sparkly city pop, and maintaining that consistent rhythm, this song is the epitome of cute girl group B-sides. Shy Shy being like their second song already sets it apart from Puzzle Moon in its more new disco-like, retro-influenced synthy melody. I like this song because it helps in already diversifying GWSN's sound structure since the start. This song uses dreamlike, predominant bells and also uses very soft percussion to go along with it. Personally, this is one of my least favorites in the album because I didn't find anything that particularly stood out to me in the song other than the balladic chimes that played throughout the song. This is one of, if not the most atmospheric song on the album. Follows suit after the other B-sides, tracking the group's distinct sound using the heavy glockenspiels and the lighter, less dominant percussion. The reason I gave it a 9.5 is because of its consistent rhythm, keeping a consistent energy throughout the song, and for that reason, it is my favorite track from the album. Interchangeable with Yolowa is my favorite track in the album, this is yet another good, mood-setting song. Maybe it is the subtle future-based percussion that is prevalent throughout the track, or the experimentation of a different style and genre but keeping the motive of the bells intact. But it's a very subtly pleasant yet cosmic sound that GWSN has incorporated from their conceptual lore. The choruses are a bit too short in my opinion, but the last chorus makes up for it and leaves me satisfied in general. Being GWSN's only typical ballad till date, and me being a typical ballad stan, you can see where I'm going with this. It can be argued that it's a bit slow, boring, and generic, but honey, that's what a ballad is. Whether you appreciate it or not, that's it. This song is one of my favorite K-pop ballads till date, and the soft, sparkly effects countering the slow guitar arpeggiations are a pretty good idea in my opinion, and is one of the main reasons why it's rated that high in the album. Secondly, we dive into the second part of the trilogy, A Park in the Night Part 2. This song is my favorite GWSN title track so far. I like the fusion of the heavy future bass and the xylophonic garden bells, which seem to have been the instrument playing throughout the song based on the sound of it. This song has audible influences of 8-bit game music, and the range of notes are very pleasing to hear, alluding to their fantasy-esque lore. I'm a big fan of that post-chorus rap and the short dance break after the bridge, because it helps the song flow better in my opinion, all adding to why I think this song is one of their best. This song doesn't stray away from their airy song, but also experiments with different types of synths to set the song apart from their other releases. The name of the song is honestly such a cute idea, and that bridge is easily one of the best and most well-flowing bridges in all of K-pop. I think at this rate, this would become a songs that I love video rather than a discography review. This song gives very adventure game music vibes. I love it when the percussive beat changes at the second half of the verse. It's a bit hard to gauge where the song splits into chorus, pre-chorus, and post-chorus, and even though it's a bit scrambled, this song kinda makes it work. The song is also my favorite in the album because it contains one of their best raps and one of the best post-choruses in K-pop, hence the high rating. After a whole album and a half of songs with similar tonal structure, we come across one of their most experimental tracks yet, Miss Ping Pong. I am so glad they went with this type of sound, because had they not, we would have never known how good this type of sound would have suited their vibe. The brass synths are honestly one of the best I've heard in a song, and I think more K-pop songs should carry forward this sound. The clever autotune used in the post-chorus is actually a fun little addition, and I think that it's essential for making the song sound more complete. This is by far my second favorite song in the album for this exact reason. This song is hardly ever talked about when people talk about this album, which is hardly ever. But anyways, this is one B-side that deserves a bit of recognition. The song incorporates some traditional-like melodies remade on the synth, and it also adds to the atmospheric feeling that the lore portrays. I also really like the pre-chorus of the song. This was a definite add for me when I first heard it. This is a fan song. A fan song. This as a track is so powerful. It can easily go through as a main track B-side and can also be a legible title track in my opinion. This is a fan song. A fan song. This as a track is so powerful. It can easily go through as a main track B-side and also be a legible title track in my opinion. That high note is honestly so blissful to listen to that sometimes I forget that this is just a fan song that was never really promoted. My favorite aspect of the song is the future-based focused beat that blends in so well with their voices and makes the song flow so well. This song as a whole is just so well structured and composed, easily making it one of my favorites in GWSN's whole discography. We now move on to the concluding segment of the debut trilogy, their longest album yet, The Park in the Night, Part 3, with 8 songs in total. Again, like all of their previous titles, this song uses the glockenspiel-like bells to enhance their cosmic and fairy tale-like sound. I wasn't a fan of the music video, but as a song, it's very well-rounded and honestly very likable. It was nice how the rap felt like it fit and it wasn't shoehorned in. I gave it the rating that I did because even though it's a good title, the chorus felt a bit too rushed and fast-paced, but that is my opinion. This is the kind of song I'd legitimately hear at an amusement park while riding a roller coaster. This song incorporates muted guitar strums and a clap beat to portray the youth that the girls present. It's a very fun listen that prolongs the happiness of the song till the end, and that makes it such a great song for summery vibes. Night Aviation tries to be a ballad without actually being one. There are balladic features incorporated, making the song soothing and more well-flowing, and this allows even more people who don't particularly enjoy ballads to like the song. Being one of my favorite songs in the whole of their discography, its soft and steady beats with the harmonious strings and the synths in the chorus led me to rate the song as high as it is. Another one of my favorites on the album, Blackout, is a refreshing mix of synthy brass and cymbalic percussion, which is bass dominant, but also manages to pertain to the tropical GWSN sound. The song structure is also very well composed, and so the replayability of the song stays really high. Legit, if someone doesn't play this to me on my 19th birthday, I will riot. Anyways, this song gives me major Ice One vibes personally, and if you enjoy a softer, acoustic heavy, swingy song with soft, sparkly synths, this is definitely your jam, whether it's your birthday or not. The syncopated melodies add a lot of soul to the song and makes it sound more rhythmically variant, which is why personally I really love the song. Bringing back the bell-like sound from Puzzle Moon and Yoloa, this song reminds me of something I would hear at a beach party. Kind of Cool manages to lift up the atmosphere, and that attribute is what I usually look for in a good song. All of their voices really blend in together in this one, and I do listen to it very often, hence the rating. With its sparkly add-on embellishments and overall swung rhythms, this song sounds like a song from WJSN or from April's older discography. It has a great bass line and it's very grabbing in terms of melodic hook, with the consistency in the instrumental parts with the drums and the other disco-influenced synths. It's a great song and I do listen to it very often. This song is honestly a great end to the album and well rounds up the album with a successfully ending track. It portrays their delicateness and also their cohesiveness as a group to some extent. I find it really pleasing to hear, and thus this is a very likable song, particularly in this album. This song was written by Ravi as a gift for GWSN, particularly based around Mia's cat, Simon, in Japan. The fact that this song is an anecdote that makes this song so special and particularly personal to the girls themselves somehow makes me like the song a bit more. We now move on to the Keys, the mini that was released last year in the absence of Soso. From the start, the producer switch in the album is prominent through the title track because it clearly shows a variety from the title itself. This song, unlike their previous titles with the bells and the chimes, uses a lot of synths and a bit more dominant percussion. I do like this as a title track, but maybe it's because I'm way too used to their upbeat, more cutesy songs. I found this song a bit boring compared to the rest of their titles, but this song is a great listen from time to time. The sudden jazz influence introduced in the discography acted as such a refresher track in the discography until this point. The groovy and the fun guitar parts, along with the short piano riffs, add a very fun-loving aspect to the entirety of the song, which accentuates it throughout, and the ad-libs in the song are also a nice addition, keeping me, as a listener, hooked in the entirety of the song. This one is an easy 9.5. The slower, more new disco feel to the song is very unique to GWSN's delicate soundscape and is relatively a new addition. Tweaks is very refreshing as a whole and never makes me feel underwhelmed whenever I listen to the song. The synths throughout the song are very airy and they honestly sound so cool and well incorporated into the song in my opinion. This new side of GWSN's sound is so amazing and I hope they can come back to this type of sound at some point in the future. This is probably the only time I've seen a sequel of a song in K-pop. Even so, done extremely well. After the Bloom acts as an amazing succeeding track to Bloom, as the songs can seamlessly be transitioned from one to the other and the initial vibe of Bloom isn't lost even though the time in between the two releases were quite a bit. After the Bloom happens to be my most played song in the past 6 months, and honestly it's very well deserved. The dance break after the bridge acts as such a nice refresher, maintaining the steady flow of the song. The replayability of this song is also very high for this exact reason. We now look on their most recent comeback, acting as the literal other side of the moon compared to their usual sound, and also marking the return of Soso. Starting the album with a sudden electronic heavy track deemed to be a pretty good idea for this particular album. The diversity in vocal effects throughout the song creates a very atmospheric ambience, heightened with the clever use of autotune and experimental industrial features like the drop in the second chorus. The rugged rock elements in the drop of the chorus also adds variety and depth, thus making this my favorite track in the album despite it being only 2.5 minutes long. This is a very hooking track in the album, and After Burn is definitely my favorite in the album. The whispering is super intense and is polar opposite to anything I've heard in their whole discography. To be honest, I would have liked it if this track would have been the title, because this has 100% potential of carrying the album single-handedly. There are chimes used throughout the song, but unlike the rest of their discography, this insinuates a cult-like ritual feeling, emulating some sort of underworld. Lena and Soryung, listed as co-lyricists for the song, makes it even more interesting because of the intriguing lyric choices for some English lines in the song. I hope this song gets some sort of promotional choreography video like Wonderboy did in the previous album.
11일로 할게 show me 숨겨진 이야기 baby.
When the song starts, there is such a mystical vibe to it, from the play with the synths in the bass and the high parts, and the soft future bassistic percussion. It's almost impossible to predict that the chorus would drop instead of continuing in the dreamlike melody that it was sustaining. The post-chorus also adds a good variation in the rhythm and also helps link back to their original sound, which is probably why this song is the title track of the album. It isn't their best title track by a long shot, but I really liked how they experimented with a different sound while retaining elements from their own soundscape. At first, it was the bitonality of the song, the sudden change in the happy pre-chorus to the suddenly sinister chorus. But this song has a very interesting lyricality and surprisingly great listening age. At first, I was a bit unsure of the song, but honestly, it started to grow on me, and I'm seeming to like it more as I listen to it. Personally, I think I would have rated it lower if the last chorus didn't save it for me.
Yeah, yeah. In the starry night, 별은 아름답게 반짝이는데.
Again, Lena and Soryung co-writing the song had a massive impact on me. Starry Night lives up to its name by using electronic synths and a soft future-based bass line to add a dreamlike effect, and has so many layers, making it sound so rich and so much fuller. It's so weirdly interesting that every time I listen to the song, I hear a different layer, and it's honestly such a nice song to listen to with its extensive vocals and harmonies. It's also one of the songs in the album that acts as a link to their original soundscape.
I sing la 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 la. I sing la 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 la.
The jazzy piano line with the clean-cut improvisations and the bossa nova features are very refreshing and clearly links to Wonder Boy, even though it is a bit slower paced and slower flowing. It's a really calming listen, and I can imagine it being played in a serene location, such as a cafe or in a library. It sounds very atmospheric and very airy, and is a very well-rounded B-side in my opinion. It's also a great way to end the album with a soft jazz track that sets the mood. And that's the end of the video. It's funny I couldn't criticize any of the tracks I talked about today, but I guess it evidently supports the fact that GWSN has a no-skip discography. I hope that through this video, I can encourage non-gurus who have never heard of GWSN to go and give their songs a listen, because it's definitely worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. Do let me know if I should do more discography reviews of groups like I did.